He's still talking over me.
Well, you're cutting me off.
When I talk, you stop. Understood?
No, I actually don't understand that, Judge.
Why don't you come down here, and I'll make it clear to you. Come down. I'll see you at 12 o'clock.
I'm not coming at 12 o'clock.
Donkey of the day for Thursday, August 15th goes to 36th District Court Judge Kenneth King, okay? Judge King, the levels of disappointment I have for you this morning, okay? You, my brother. I just don't understand humans, okay? I don't understand humans like I believe I understand humans, okay? One thing that therapy has taught me over the years is to always put yourself in other people's shoes. You have to attempt always to see other humans as you see yourself. You have to attempt to see other humans as you see people you love. So I have a 16-year-old daughter. So naturally, if I see something happen to a 16-year-old, especially a 16-year-old girl, I'm like, damn, why would he handle a 16-year-old girl like that? And that is exactly what my mind is in regards to Judge Kenneth King. Judge, why would you do what you did to this 16-year-old teenage girl?
The last time we spoke of Michigan 36th District Court Judge Kenneth King, it was in this back and forth with a lawyer that tempted him to declare her in contempt of court.
Why don't you come down here, and I'll make it clear to you. Come down. I'll see you at 12 o'clock.
I'm not coming at 12 o'clock, Judge.
Okay. Don't come then and see what happens.
Okay, so do you want Attorney Davenport, who is the attorney on this case? Do you want to speak to him? Because if you're asking me,
why are you even talking to me if you're not on this case? I don't even want to talk to you then.
Well, you asked a question about me, Judge, so I started speaking.
You're talking to me if you're not involved in this case.
Well, I am involved. I'm co-counsel on this case, Judge, but just to be...
I want you to come down here at 12 o'clock today.
I won't be coming, but here's Attorney Davenport.
And I'll hold you in contempt of court.
And I'll go ahead and file a grievance. Judge, I can't come down there at 12 o'clock today, but when you see me on another hearing, or if you want me to come down on a different time, then we can definitely discuss it. In fact, I know that is this recorded? Because if this is recorded, then we both can use it in our grievance.
The fact you can go to jail because of an attitude is the problem. Replies, okay, hope her attitude having ASS under the jail. Then you would go to jail. She responds, the point keeps going over y'all's heads. Some gentlemen respond, some judges act like God. He would not let her finish either. That's not respectful. They check the judge.
But Judge, you asked me a question. I started answering. You cut me off and then you said, when you start talking, I stop. I'm not a child. I'm not a puppet.
It's all about respect, and this judge is disrespectful and throwing his power around. Response, no way you think the judge is wrong. You are biased, buddy. He earned that right.
I don't disrespect you, and I expect to be respected as well.
I expect you to respect this court.
Wayne State University ends teaching gig for Detroit judge who detains sleepy teen girl. This is the story that brings Judge King back into the spotlight.
Yeah, Glenda, good afternoon. What a whirlwind of a couple days here at 36th District Court. It was you, the viewers, that made your concerns heard and let us know about what was going on inside one of the courtrooms. We spoke to Judge Kenneth King. He completely stood by his actions that day, placing a 15-year-old on a field trip in his courtroom in handcuffs and a jail uniform for misbehaving in his courtroom, completely unbeknownst to her mother.
One thing you'll learn about my courtroom is that I am not a toy. I'm not to be played with.
What started out as an informational field trip with the greeting of Detroit nonprofit Tuesday to the 36th District Court in front of Judge King.
This is the 36th District Court for the city of Detroit. We do just about everything that happens in the city of Detroit.
Quickly turned into Judge King getting visibly agitated over a sleeping student in his courtroom.
You fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm putting you in the back, understood?
Contempt of court, as defined by the Department of Justice, is an act of disobedience or disrespect towards the judicial branch of the government, or an interference with its orderly process. What we're going to see in this interaction between a judge on the bench and a young 15-year-old girl on a field trip who is sleepy is that he is going to attempt to teach her the importance of not being in contempt of court. There will be some that say his actions were heavy-handed. There will be some that say that his actions were just right. But whatever you choose to say, his actions cost him.
Judge King had her removed from the courtroom, but he told me that didn't fix her, quote, attitude. And that's when he pulled out the jail uniform and handcuffs.
That's not something that normally happens, but I felt compelled to do it because I didn't like the child's attitude.
King says he was trying to teach the teenager a lesson on behavior and respect in court.
I haven't been disrespected like that in a very long time.
He then threatened the girl with jail time.
I'm gonna go to sleep tonight while you're sitting in the juvenile detention facilities.
Was I really going to do that? Probably not. Could I have? Probably so. But that's not what I want to do to a kid who's there on a field trip.
Then I spoke to the mother. She told me she had no idea this was happening. No one told her, not the nonprofit, until we started digging. Then Judge Kenneth King, being temporarily removed from the docket, will also undergo additional training so this doesn't happen again. The mom, Latoria Till, says this is the right thing to do, and she's glad she spoke up.
Don't play with an upset mother, because you told my daughter don't play with you in your courtroom, and so you can't play with the citizens of Detroit and an upset mother.
I'm not going to be one to make an argument to say that he did the right thing in handcuffing a young teen. I don't think that's the right thing to do. But I can also say that I'm not a judge in Detroit neither. I don't know how rough Detroit is, but I know it's not a picnic. And so after all of this, a familiar story plays itself out.
Latoria Till welcoming the news coming down Thursday from 36th District Court to temporarily remove Judge Kenneth King and have him go through cultural competency training. It's all after what happened to her daughter.
She just don't give a care. I'm tempted to give her some days in jail as a lesson.
On Tuesday, 15-year-old Eva Goodman was on a field trip with a Detroit nonprofit to the courtroom. She was irritable and she was falling asleep. So to teach her a lesson, Judge King placed her in handcuffs, a jail uniform, and threatened jail time. Latoria says the family currently does not have a permanent place to live, so Eva was off that day, the embarrassing ordeal scarring her.
She is having trouble sleeping at night, and so she keeps thinking about the effect, she keep going over and over and over.
So do I have any reservations? Do I think I was heavy-handed in what I did? No, I don't, because I'll do whatever it needs to be done to reach these kids to make sure that they don't end up in front of me. So that was my own version of scared straight.
Again, her crime was falling asleep. The teen's mother says the judge was way out of line. She says she's a struggling single mom and her family is moving from place to place, and she thought the summer program would be a good distraction for her daughter. Instead, her daughter is traumatized.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court.
So the fact that he was talking about you go home and get in your bed, how do you know my baby got a home? How do you know my baby got a bed, her own bed that she could sleep in? She don't have that right now. So she was hired to belittle her in front of the whole world and her friends to make her even feel more worse about our situation. I'm a single mother. I'm trying my best. I'm doing everything that I can.
Civil rights violations for fatigue, homeless, he should be disbarred. Way too many corrupt judges. Simple solution, wake her up. Handcuffs are for criminals. Sensitivity training isn't going to do a darn thing for a lunatic on a power trip. Humble yourself, brother. This is not your system. The guy imprisoned her in cuffs against her constitutional rights. The arrogance of this judge. He almost kidnapped this child. Power trip. Judge should never be on a bench again. The #1 comment on the reaction page for the Breakfast Club: LOL, you're taking kids to a courtroom for a field trip and expect them to stay awake? This ain't Disneyland.
Judge Kenneth King, are you serious? A 16-year-old girl is on a field trip. She keeps falling asleep on the field trip, and you decide to do an impromptu hearing for her because of her attitude and constant sleeping on the trip. You told that 16-year-old girl, if you fall asleep in my courtroom one more time, I'm going to put you in the back. I am not to be played with. What an ego-driven statement. Judge King, you are a leader, and there are 3 rules of leadership. The first rule of leadership is put your mission above your ego. What were you trying to get across to these kids on this field trip? What was your intention? What was the mission? Because it sounds to me like you was just flexing. You was just trying to showcase your authority, okay? You wanted them to respect you, but clearly you're not able to garner respect without that robe, that gavel, and that bench, okay? You're not to be played with. No, you played yourself, because I told you the first rule of leadership, okay? The second rule of leadership is if you don't care about your people, they won't care about your mission. You didn't care about that little girl. You don't know why she kept falling asleep.
Right.
You have no idea. She might be 16 with a couple of younger siblings and has to stay up all night watching them because her single mom is at work and can't afford a babysitter. Hell, she might be sick and on some type of medication, and the medication might be making her drowsy. I don't know. My point is, Judge, you didn't even bother to find out. You didn't care. You just got offended because she kept falling asleep in the courtroom and you wanted to show her you nothing to play with. Why not ask her? Why are you so tired? You seem exhausted, young lady. What's going on? Have a conversation. See what's going on in the young woman's life, Judge. And guess what, Judge Kenneth King? The third rule of leadership is, if I have to tell you the first two rules of leadership, then guess what? You're not ready to lead yet. Okay, I know you've been a judge in that court since 2006, but I'm calling that whole tenure into question.
If you've ever been around teens, you would have to think that they would need to do something rather egregious before you would think of something that is serious enough to warrant them being put in handcuffs. But then again, this is the rule for my house and not the rule for my court of law, because I'm not a judge in Detroit. He is. And so he has dealt with varying levels of behavior, dare I say disrespect. And in this particular case, he made a judgment decision that probably went too far. But it is speaking to one particular issue that we speak to quite often. Did he go too far? Probably yes, he did. But the better question is, does he have any authority in that courtroom? And in this case, particularly over the two black women or the young girl that came and addressed him in it. As with all issues, things have to be looked at in shades of gray. On the one end, you have a poor young 15-year-old who is not living in a stable place, and so she may have some behavioral issues because she's very angry growing up in such a situation. And on the other side of it, you have a man who went to extensive schooling to be in a position, and yet he may be feeling in the courtroom where he worked hard to get where he is, that he is being disrespected on a regular basis. And so these two things come together and make a perfect storm where a young girl in an unfortunate situation with maybe a learned behavior that she can fall asleep or speak back to people, and a court of law where a man is trying to exercise his authority ends up in him getting removed from his bench for however much time he is going to be removed from it, and a young lady that's basically probably going to get a payout from the city and maybe not even see anything wrong with her behavior in the courtroom. The question becomes, of course, one, do black men have any authority? And two, the next time she's in that courtroom, if she's unfortunately ever there again, will the next person that's there be more understanding or less? Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.